Welcome everyone to the non-spoiler review of Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone by J.K. Rowling. This is the Reading Random Corner, and I'm your host, Liam. So, there you go. This story is part of a series called Harry Potter, because like every single one of them begins with Harry Potter, Harry Potter, Harry Potter, Harry Potter, you know? Now about the series. Harry Potter was just Harry. Nothing special about him until his 11th birthday. He meets a giant of a man that says, "You're a wizard, Harry." Most iconic line in the entire Harry Potter series. Join as Harry learns what it means to be a wizard. So what made me read this book? A long time ago, my mother handed me the first book in the series and said I might enjoy it. She had already read the first two books and was on the third one. I read it because I was bored. And I was young. I played with dolls at that time. So silly. Harry Potter has never even heard of Hogwarts when the letters start dropping on the doormat at number 4 Privet Drive. Addressed in green ink on yellowish parchment with a purple seal, they are swiftly confiscated by his grisly aunt and uncle. Then, on Harry's 11th birthday, a great beetle-eyed giant of a man called Rubeus Hagrid bursts in with some astonishing news. Harry Potter is a wizard, and he has a place at Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. An incredible adventure is about to begin. Harry Potter thought he was ordinary, that had extraordinary things happening around him, only to find out that he was a wizard just like his parents. Now, he's on his way to learn how to be a wizard. Rereading the book lost some of the magic for me. Don't get me wrong, it's a great book, but the way it was set up was not what I remembered it to be. It's more magical when you read it just once. The setup by the main character took over 1/3 of the book to do so, as there was a whole chapter that was for setting up other characters and the plot. Their motives for the characters were clearly written. The characters react to the situation in manners that 11-year-olds would for the most part. I feel some of what Harry reacts to is a little lackluster because when he learns to be a wizard, he doesn't really show his happiness besides smiling. Yes, I know he was repressed as a child, but still. To find out that I was able to leave my aunt and uncle who repressed me, I'd be, jumping up and down for joy and shouting from the rooftops like, "Hey, yeah, I'm a witch," Be happy about it. Happy. Like, I'm still waiting for my Hogwarts letter, okay? I'm still waiting for it. Give me my letter. I know I'm a witch. Just give it to me. The genre is considered to be middle grade and young adult contemporary fantasy. Did this live up to my expectation? Yes, magic is a wondrous thing, and the journey Harry takes is an exciting one. Which character did I relate to the most? No one in this book. Which secondary character stood out the most? Fred and George Weasley, as they were the very definition of twins, played it to their advantage. There are multiple voices, but it was in the third person. It did not affect my reading. And I skipped one. What was more important? The characters or the plot? The characters in this first book was more important because we don't get to the plot until the last third of the book. Should you go and read this story/series? Yes. If you want to be taken upon a journey of a lifetime. What else would you want to read it for? It's a sensation. There's a TV series coming out now that's supposed to breathe new life into the Harry Potter world. So, as you leave the non-spoiler part of this review, would you please drop a like, comment, or even your lovely subscription for me? Alright, for the spoiler section of this review, here are the characters. No, I am not going to go over any of the lingo in this because, 1, there's too much of it, and 2, if you've not heard of Harry Potter, where in the hell have you been? Under a rock? Okay, you need to come out of that rock. Come out from underneath it, just peek your head around and find it. Harry Potter is the main character. He finds out he is a wizard and a very bad man had killed his parents and failed to kill him, and that's how he got the scar on his forehead. It's a famous lightning bolt scar. Albus Dumbledore, the headmaster of Hogwarts, who has way too many middle names, and Harry's magical guardian. I believe he did not make a lot of good choices on how he handled Harry, and to be honest, there's a lot of more things that could have been done differently within the book. That's just my opinion. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that I find plot holes for in this, now that I'm older. So, yeah. Minerva McGonagall, a professor at Hogwarts that teaches Transfiguration, is the head of Gryffindor House and deputy headmistress. I believe that's too many jobs, by the way. And she should have been more focused on her students, but she was not. She was very dismissive of her students. I understand she's strict, but very dismissive. She should have listened. Most adults should listen when children talk about certain things because they could be onto something. Petunia Dursley, she denied her sister existed whenever she didn't have to think about it, and hated that Lily had magic and not her. She mistreated her nephew because of it. Like, she wanted to go to Hogwarts, but she didn't. She got denied. And yes, it's not revealed until way later in the story, but hey. Now you know. Vernon Dursley, he hates magic and anything that is not ordinary. He mistreats Harry whenever he accidentally does magic as a way to try and stamp it out of him, which of course doesn't work. Dudley Dursley followed his parents' lead in how he treated his cousin and even became afraid of Harry and magic. Ron Weasley became Harry's very first best friend. He's a great chess player and a little mean to those that he doesn't like. I mean, like the way he treats Hermione, the person that's in his house, just because he doesn't like the way she was at first. I mean, she does sort of grow out of it, but not really. It's just mean. I understand a lot of people can be mean, but like he's like super mean to anything that doesn't fit into what he believes should be. And honestly, I think the reason why he became Harry's friend at first was because Harry's famous and he wanted in on that famous stuff. And it shows in subsequent books that he's very jealous of Harry and everything that Harry has because of his fame. And he doesn't see that Harry would give up all that fame and everything just to have his parents like Ron does. Just to have siblings like Ron does. You know, he wants what Ron has and Ron wants what Harry has. Not realizing that what Ron already has is the best thing for Ron. A family. Fred Weasley and of course Gred, as he's known to himself, is one of the twins and older brother to Ron. He's a beater for Quidditch. A beater is somebody who beats away these bludgers to other team members on the other side of the field, on the other team, to keep away from his teammates in a game of Quidditch, which is just a game they play on brooms in the air. George Weasley, or as they like to say, Forge, is the twin of Fred and older brother to Ron, and also the other beater for the Quidditch team, because there's two beaters. Mrs. Weasley, you don't learn her name until later on. She's the mother of all the Weasley children. Ginny Weasley is the youngest Weasley child and the only female besides Mrs. Weasley, but she wasn't born into the Weasley family. She married. Percy Weasley is the oldest Weasley in Hogwarts at the moment, and a perfect, but not the oldest Weasley child. There's actually two more. Can you believe it? There's 7 of them altogether. You have Severus Snape. He's a potion master and the potion professor and head of Slytherin House. He hates Harry because of his father, but that's not all of it, and you don't learn the rest of it until much later. Then you have, of course, Voldemort. He who must not be named. You know who. And the one that killed Harry's parents and tried to kill him. He was on the back of Quirrell's head for the entirety of Harry's first year. Rubeus Hagrid, a giant man that was expelled from Hogwarts and is not the groundskeeper for the castle. And is now the groundskeeper for the castle. He owns a giant dog and had always wanted a dragon. He owns 2 giant dogs. One extremely giant, the other one not so much. Professor Quirrell, a defense against the dark arts professor who had found Voldemort in a forest somewhere and became possessed by him. He died thanks to Voldemort leaving him after his arm, head, and hands were burned because Voldemort couldn't touch Harry. Daedalus Diggle, a wizard that Harry had met before he went to the League of Cauldron for the first time and met him again there. He actually becomes somebody that's slightly important in later on series. Madame Parfait is a midwitch at Hogwarts that patches up the students of Hogwarts. Lily Potter is, of course, Harry's mother. He has her green eyes, which, of course, if you watch the movies, they don't actually have green eyes. Harry doesn't. And it's really disappointing. James Potter, Harry's father. Harry has his father's hair. Sirius Black is, what we find out later on, Harry's godfather and best friend to James and Lily. Piers Pocus is Dudley's best friend that tormented Harry. Arabella Figgs is an old cat lady that babysat Harry whenever the Dursleys left to do anything, and you later on find out that she was a squib that Dumbledore planted there to keep an eye on Harry. Griphook, the first goblin Harry spoke to and took him to his vault for the very first time in his life. Harry remembers him. Even what he looks like, even though most goblins look a lot alike. Madame Malcolm is the one who owns the Madame Malcolm's robes for all occasions. She dresses up all the Hogwarts students and other people who go in there. Mr. Ollivander, he owns the shop Ollivander's Wand Shop, where he remembers every wand that he has ever sold. He loves tricky customers. Hermione Granger, a know-it-all bossy child that grew up without siblings and knowing magic. She lied to keep Ron and Harry out of trouble, and as a thanks for saving her from a troll and certain death, they actually become her friend on Halloween. Neville Longbottom is a young, forgetful child that did not consider himself brave and thought he did not really have enough magic to be at Hogwarts, thanks to his family thinking him a squib for a very long time. And a squib is somebody without magic that was born into a magical family. Draco Malfoy, a pompous child that thought the world should bow down to him and that his father will hear about everything that happened to him. Crabbe, Draco's henchman. Goyle, Draco's henchman. You don't actually learn their first names until later on. The Fat Friar is a ghost for the Hufflepuff house. Peeves, the poltergeist that loves to cause trouble and only listens to the Bloody Baron. The Bloody Baron, the ghost for the Slytherin house. Madame Hoach, she was a flying instructor and the Quidditch referee at Hogwarts. Sir Nicholas de Pomsey Propagantum, which is also known as the Nearly Headless Nick, that he hates the name for, is a ghost for the Gryffindor house. Scabbers, Ron's rat, that had been Percy's rat. And let me tell you, do not like that rat. Ever. Hedwig, the owl that Hagrid bought for Harry for his first birthday, and the very first real gift Harry had ever gotten, not Hagrid. Harry had ever gotten. Filch, the caretaker of Hogwarts and a squib. He hates all the magical children, even though he works for the school. He really shouldn't. Mrs. Norris, Filch's cat that helps him find naughty children out after bedtime. Professor Flitwick is the professor of charms and head of Ravenclaw. Professor Binns is the professor of history, magic, and a ghost. He had just went to sleep, woke up as a ghost, and went on to teach. I don't know why they don't get an actual one. I mean, it saves money, but still, get an actual teacher. Professor Sprout, the professor for herbology and the head of Hufflepuff. Fang, Hagrid's dog. Parvati Patel is a twin that got sorted into Gryffindor. Her other twin, Padma, got sorted into Ravenclaw. Yes, they become important later on in the series. Same with Pansy Parkinson, a girl that got sorted into Slytherin. She becomes important in one of the books, slightly. Oliver Wood, captain of the Gryffindor House Quidditch team. Lee Jordan, the friend of the Weasley twins and commentator for the Quidditch matches. Nicholas Flamel, the creator of the Sorcerer's Stone, and he had been alive for over 600 years, along with his wife, Pernella. I don't know. Norbert, the dragon Hagrid won in a card game and hatched from an egg. Fluffy, the three-headed dog that Hagrid owned, somehow. And that was never explained. And he was a Cerberus. Like, wow. To be honest, if you don't know anything about the Harry Potter lingo, then I suggest you Google it because there's too much lingo for me to list here and explain. As you can see, there's way too many names that I just listed above. That's not even all the names that were listed in here, or the people that are become important in some way, shape, or form, or even have something to do with the story in the future. There's so many more names that I did not mention. There are several POVs within the story, and those are Professor McGonagall, Harry Potter, and of course, the Dursleys. You don't know which Dursley they're talking about because, of course, it follows all of them. Well, Vermin and Petunia, to be exact. My favorite character was Harry Potter because why wouldn't you like the poor orphan kid that just wanted to fit into the world and be loved? My most listed character in this one is actually Vermin Dursley because why would you take out shit that happened to you on someone else? It is never their fault that something terrible happened to you because of people you never knew. I'm talking about you, Snape. Why are you taking out stuff on Harry when he never knew his parents? And why are you, Vermin Dursley, taking it out on Harry when Harry's father and friends did stuff to you? Like, it's not Harry's fault. Harry doesn't know them. Harry's never witnessed anything to do with them. Harry's an innocent child. Don't take shit out on him because of what his parents did or didn't do. Like, seriously. It was told in chronological order with appropriate language for the target audience. The foreshadowing was brief and the suspense was only built up at the end of the book when it dealt with them trying to stop who they thought was Nate, but Quirrell, from stealing the stone. The background is explained enough to understand Harry and some of the other characters that are introduced into this book, but not every character. The title of the book meant that Harry had something to do with the stone. That's why it's called Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. The cover of the book is Harry moving to catch the snitch on a broom between two pillars, with the castle in the background showing Fluffy underneath it and a unicorn running into a forest, which is the Forbidden Forest. What stood out as memorable was the way Harry tried to be brave when facing danger because he believed he was the only one that stood in the way of someone evil. Because obviously they tried telling teacher, and the teacher didn't believe him. Professor McGonagall didn't believe him, so he's like, okay, we're the only ones that stand in the way because apparently the adults don't listen. My favorite passage from the story is, it was a bit late to repair the damage, but Harry swore to himself not to meddle in things that weren't his business from now on. He'd had it with sneaking around and spying. He felt so ashamed of himself that he went to Wood and offered to resign from the Quidditch team. It didn't last very long. Like, the rest of the series is Harry sneaking around and spying to find out stuff. My favorite quote is, after all, to the well-organized mind, death is but the next great adventure. What I thought about the ending of the book. Happy that Harry lived and got to see his parents and now has photos of them because Hagrid gives him a photo album. Sad that he has to deal with the Dursleys for the summer. Like, that poor boy does not deserve those Dursleys. Does not deserve the treatment of them. What book did it remind me of? It sort of reminds me of How to Train Your Dragon, Hiccup and Harry both not fitting into the world they were raised in, but then finding a way to fit into a world that accepts them. The book, as you know, is part of a series called Harry Potter, and there are 7 main books and 3 side books, which are like the Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, Quidditch Through the Ages, and the Tales of the Beetle and the Bard, and a spin-off book called The Cursed Child that was written as a script for a movie. There are 8 main movies and 5 spin-off movies, the Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them series, and now there's a new TV series coming out called Harry Potter, I think. I read this before because there were some things that I did not like. Basically, like, this book, I mean, it's awesome for a first read, but I guess for a reread as an adult, it's not really, the best. Like, what I mean by that is that this here is, like, practically one side of the book, and it is all about the setup of the story. And it's not even about Hogwarts. It's not even about the Sorcerer's Stone. I mean, except one very measly part of it. And then, up until about this here, it's just the world of Harry Potter. I mean, the Hogwarts and everything. It doesn't have anything really to do with the main plot, except for a few key points within it. And it's just really just introducing Hogwarts. That's all that is. And then the rest of it is, of course, the plot, but it's a roundabout way of introducing, the plot and doing all this stuff. Because, like, I don't know. There's even some of it in there that doesn't deal with the plot, technically. Like, Norbert doesn't deal with the plot at all. The way you think it does. That does not belong in there. So, yeah. And rereading through it, you learn that there's a lot of stuff that shouldn't have happened. That did happen, and the way that Albus Dumbledore treats people is weird. If you think I deserve a like, comment, or your lovely subscription, drop it down below. I will see you next illusion.